The phone is ringing. The phone will be right there. The phone is ringing.
Hey, Tom, are you there?
Hey, brother, how are you?
Well, I don't know. I'm just getting wound up. How about you?
I'm all right. Hey, listen, I want to thank you for restating the date for the next meeting. Earlier, you had said it was on June 7th, which is today. No, there's no meeting today. It is June 13th in Tomball, Texas, and the address and the map are on the website, thetexasrepublic.com. And second of all, I'd like to go back on what Brother Pat said a few minutes ago. Girls putting on makeup while they're driving and stuff. Come on, Pat. If they're cute girls, it should be allowed, okay? If they're kids in the street because it's a school zone, the kids need to watch out. The cute girls are allowed to do this, okay? Okay.
Okay.
Put things in priority. Third of all, before we get onto the topic of the day,
okay,
you talked about your police stop in California. You're not Steve O'Brien. You're Steve O'Brien thing. I came to Texas a few years back, and I was a mess. I had dropped out of the system completely in California about almost 30 years ago. I had no driver's license. I was driving a car that was not insured. It was not registered. It had no plates. I had no insurance. So I go in, I park the car at Walmart after I'm down here for about 2 months, not driving it around a great deal, but, go to the store and stuff. Park the car at Walmart, and I'm walking, 12 cars down to hit the main road that goes across in front of the Walmart before you get through the doors. And as I'm getting ready to cross, here comes a sheriff's car, constable car. He turns, we both nod heads, how you doing? And he turns and drives down where I just came from. Now I take another 20 steps, put my hand out on the door, and as I'm getting ready to go through the door, I look over my shoulder, and there he was, stopped at my car. I got this old 1990 Lincoln Town Car. So I say, okay, I got to go back. Wander back, no plates on the car at all. In Nevada, before I came out, in Nevada you can pay $1 and get a 30-day pass for anywhere in Nevada you can drive your car, which is what I did when I bought it. But I left the state about 2 days later. So I wandered back. I says, I had a feeling you were going to stop. He says, yep. This yours? Yep. You got plates on it? Nope. You got insurance? Nope. Is it registered? No. Sir, you got a driver's license? No. Said, I got a concealed permit. You want to see it? He says, not really. So I explained to him that I'd kind of dropped out of the system for a while and this and that. Then I lost my job, and I was out of work for about a year and left my wife so I could come out here and find work and set up shop and move her out and get my life back together. And I said, I guess I'm qualified for a couple of tickets, huh? He says, well, tell you what, son. He said, I could probably write you about 15 tickets right now. He said, but I'm just kind of guessing that that's probably not what you need in your life.
Wow.
He says, tell you what, you do your best to get your life back on track. I hope you find some work, and you just take care of yourself and have a blessed week.
Nice.
Talk about welcomed it, man. It's like, oh, yeah.
Well, see, those are really the stories that I like. I really like that kind of story because it adds the human angle towards, laws and rules and regulations. They're not all absolute, right?
No, they're not. And what he saw was, never mind my story. The story's almost immaterial, but I have a concealed carry permit. Therefore, I followed the laws, the important laws. The rest of it is all administrative procedure. But here's a guy that's in the system. He's been fingerprinted. We know who he is. He's carrying a weapon legally, and little down on his luck, and he's fighting back. He's not on a street corner holding out a sign, give me money. So it was a great way to be welcomed to Texas. So that was just my little contrast to your California stop.
No, that's beautiful, and I'm sure that happened in California too. Unfortunately,
No. I lived in California. I lived in California for 30-something years now. In California, if they can put a red light on behind you, you're getting a ticket. Going to jail.
I was trying to give them a break. I was really trying to throw them a bone, but I guess
they deserve a bone, yeah, they deserve a bone, all right. But
okay, so you're a refugee too. Well, got it. Okay.
How about this last week? Was that a week from hell or what? Actually,
yeah,
it was a double-edged thing. It was a blessing as well because we saw what we can do when we stand together, like your little song said.
Yeah, all I remember is Thursday morning. All of a sudden I hear, "Oh, hey, Susie went to jail, and they have a warrant out for Doc."
Yep.
Oh, wow. And that's a shock, right? Doc's been my co-host here for a little bit, and I remember the Valentine's Day raid and all that story. But it sunk home when I knew that Susie was, I don't know, they call it arrested,
It was arrested. No, it was arrested. In fact,
it's kidnapping.
It's kidnapping indeed. Here's the deal. I went down to have lunch with Doc Krupa. He was right down the street from me, but 20 minutes away. So I go down there. We're sitting in his office. He just got the news about Susie and about the fact that there's a warrant out for him. So we sat there and we talked for about 2.5, almost 3 hours. Then I had to leave. So I left. By the time I get home, I get a call from his daughter. Actually, I got a call from his assistant saying that the Harris County PD was there putting cuffs on him. Then I call his daughter, let her know so she can get over and pick up his truck. It's a nice truck and parked in a less than desirable place to leave it. Then I get on the phone while she searches find out where he's being taken. I get on the phone or send out an email and tell about 40 people in the Republic of Texas what's going on, that 2 of our own got arrested, and that the bail for each of them stood at about $750. Well, we knew Doc Krupa had his bail covered, but Susie was another story.
Right.
So I put out a call. Listen, guys, we got to raise about. I wanted an extra $100 just in case you get there and you're $10 short, you're screwed. So I wanted to raise $850. Within an hour, we had $950 raised.
Yeah.
So it was after hours, so we couldn't do anything till the bail bonds thing opened in the morning, and they both went to court. By 10 o'clock, we had bonds posted in both courts, in Harris County and in Kerr County. That's 10 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Susie didn't get out for another 5 hours. Another 5
and
hours
that was
in jail.
Quick.
Well, yeah, so to speak. But 5 hours, seriously? Now, here's the thing, though.
It's not right, but it was.
They get the money.
Fast in their book.
They get money from the state. They get money from the state for every 15 minutes they keep somebody in. So it's paid on the 15 minutes. How many quarters of an hour did you keep this person off the streets? So the longer they can keep you, the more money they're going to make. Now, over on this side, same thing. 10 o'clock in the morning, we had Doc Krupa's bail paid. 17 hours later, just after midnight, again, they get paid on the day as well. So it just ended the next day, so they get paid for the second day. 17 hours after bail's paid, he finally gets let out. 17 hours. Meanwhile, they treat him like crap. Nobody will talk to him. Nobody will explain what's taking so long. They give him bullshit excuses why they can't be released. Well, we have to wait till your name gets put into the computer. This is bull crap. He saw a judge as soon as he got there. As soon as he got there, he was ushered before a judge. If you see a judge, you're in the system. So they're saying we got to hold you for 17 hours because officially you're not here. If I'm not here, let me out. So
I wish it went that way, but the system around us, that story, the story of Doc, is normal to me, right? I mean, it's what I'm used to hearing in California.
Yeah.
Susie's is kind of, not normal, right?
Right.
I'd love it. She should have gone in, and they OR'd her, even if they shouldn't have even bothered her.
Right.
These
were even if they were guilty of what they say they're guilty of, there were misdemeanors. These aren't jailable offenses. It's crap. Mm-hmm. It's all about intimidation. That's all it is. And they know that the charges won't stand. They want to intimidate. They want to make us afraid to continue down this process of trying to get Texas recognized as a nation again.
Right, definitely. But they've done a lot towards that, and there's some of the vocal people that actually say it's important. And so, well, I guess we think they're important because of that, right?
Yep. And I want to take this moment to thank you. Not only did many people stand up and raise this money, but a few of them were extra generous, and you were among them. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the entire Republic of Texas. And for your information, if you didn't get the follow-up email, both of them had their bails reduced. So Susie's instead of $750 was $250. Doc's instead of $750 it was $500. So we've got the money that was raised has paid for both of theirs. And we have money left over, which I'm turning over to the chaplain, and we're going to have him start a bail fund because this will happen again to somebody. And each time we have a meeting, we're going to pass the hat a second time, and that money will go into the bail fund because it may be you next.
Hey, Tom, what's your website? RedNationRadio.com?
No, that's a radio station that I'm launching. It's much akin to what Raging Elephants Radio is. My show is PatriotRadioshow.com, and I do a show Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. Called the Patriot Radio Show, and on Fridays at 9 p.m. I do Jihad on America, where I talk about the Islamists in America, who they are, what they want, and why you should be afraid. Now, here's some breaking news, and it's breaking right here on your show. Okay. At the end of this month, I'm taking the 9 p.m. 3 times a week. I'm flipping it around. It's going to be 9 a.m. It's going to 5 days a week.
Whoa, you're doing the morning show, huh?
We're going to do a morning show. We're going to do it 5 days a week. And hopefully at the end of July, we're going to take it up to 2 hours a day. So we're going to go from 3 hours a week to 10 hours a week.
Man, I've done morning shows previously, and it takes an awful lot to get into the swing of get up, get ready, get going, boom.
Well, yeah, but back then you were a doper, and that didn't,
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I love the morning spots. I really like mornings, and if it were up to me, I probably would be broadcasting on morning time, but Sunday evenings also have a sweet spot.
This is a good spot. What did it for me was I've been standing in quite a bit on Raging Elephants Radio, and the huge difference, because when I finish a show, it takes me about 3 to 4 hours of show prep. So I go on air at 9. I'm working from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock before I go on the show. Then I do my show, and at 10 o'clock when I'm off the air after an hour of nonstop talking, I'm exhausted. I mean, it's 10 o'clock at night. I just don't have the energy to go cut the show, cut out any space, pauses or commercials.
Right.
Used to cut all the commercials when I was on AM radio, and then post it to Facebook and post it out to Twitter and post it to. I finished the show over at Doc Green's at his studio. And the reason I didn't come on early tonight to co-host is I just got my mixer in late Friday. I got a brand new 16-channel mixer, and I've been plugging it in and tweaking it and getting it set up all night. So I'm excited. But
oh God,
when I'm doing his show, I do the show, I post the show, and it's still not even 11 o'clock. This is cool, I've got time to do the rest of my day, and I'm not exhausted. So I'm going to switch it around and get my nights back.
Yeah, I know. Definitely hardware production and so forth is important to take all the pre-work and post-work and minimize that. I don't know how much time I put into creating this radio show. It's got to be the one that I'm doing right now that's most on my heart. They fluctuate back and forth. But
from what I've seen on your shows, it's got to be at least 10 minutes of prep work.
Yeah, 15, man, 15.
No, listen, you've been doing a great job of getting the word out, and I'm really happy with the way you've taken the show.
Well, I hope that we're going to be making a huge amount of changes here in the coming weeks and months, and I understand that that's kind of like, it's a long job. Different mixers help. You have a 16-channel mixer, and Well, that works really good for communications, and a lot of people don't understand what that's about. And this is, the Republic of Texas, and so I won't get all technical on you. But Chuck Smith was talking about last week. He was a guy that I brought on. I use his airtime on a blog talk channel.
Yep.
You heard some of that?
Of course I do.
Okay.
I listen to you all the time, brother.
Well, talk radio, sometimes you put it on and walk away and listen to it and so
no,
forth.
not your show. I listen to it all the time.
Oh, God, now I'm scared. But actually, Chuck said, well, do you guys have a media production group? I'm all, no, man.
Yeah,
We're just
right.
a whole bunch of people. It's like, yeah, there's our captain, and I'm the lieutenant, and we all get together and have meetings all the time. It doesn't seem to be like that. But in some respects, well, we all serve that same goal to get the word out and to say, no, you don't have to live like that, and point them the right direction. And what is the right direction?
The right direction to what? To get the word out, or to where do we want to end up going?
Where's freedom and liberty? It's at thetexasrepublic.com.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
We are the only group out there that, there's a lot of groups that want an independent country. There are independent Texas. There's Freedom Texas. There's the secessionists. There's all sorts of groups. We are the only ones that have a seated government that had replaced the government of 1845. We're the only ones with a plan to actually get before the international court. We're the only ones that have a plan being developed to transition from the state of Texas to the nation of Texas, because as you mentioned last week, we've got all these contracts with other states, with other countries. We've got the military, we've got the feds, we've got Social Security, we've got other federal agencies in here. How do we transition from this to that? It's like morphing from an automobile, from a rhinoceros to an automobile. There's a lot to be done. There's a lot to be done to transition, and we're the only group out there that has all of the pieces in place and being developed, including currency.
Now, let me ask you this. How many different Texas independent groups have you looked at their angle and, heard what they were saying? Have you ever gone down that rabbit trail trying to find people and what they're saying and what they stand for?
No. I was blessed. A dear friend of mine passed away in December. I wasn't blessed that he passed away, but I was blessed to know him, and I spent a great deal of time with him in his last couple of years. And Jimmy McIver was in the Republic of Texas, and he talked about it. We talked about it for hours and hours, and there was no question in my mind that this was the path. And I'm as certain of it as that Jesus is the path to a life ever after. Okay. This is the only process that will get us where we want to be. We could secede from the Union. If we were really in the Union, we could do that. Is it feasible? No. We've already got what we need to be an independent nation. You look around. The Texas flag is the only flag out of 50 that's flown at the same height as the U.S. flag. They know we're a nation. They know it. They may deny it, but if we weren't, our flag would be flown in a submissive stature, the same as everybody else's. So we've got what we need. All we have to do is get the international recognition.
What are your thoughts on, and I'm sorry to be deviating from the Doc and Susie story, because that's very important, and we're going to be hearing an awful lot about that. At this point, we're just doing a no-talky details, letting that play out for a second, and we'll be talking a little bit about them.
Sure. But no, take it where you want. It's your show.
Okay, I confused myself. That happens sometimes. But what about all the gimmies, right? Everybody's okay, so in the United States, the corporate U.S. right now, there's a lot of welfare and there's a lot of food stamps and there's a lot of Social Security and disability, and people are actually making their whole existence flipping burgers for their, I guess here in Texas you get $7 a an hour. One person works at the part-time over at the burger flipper thing, and the other person works part-time at this other little thing, and they get $7 an hour. Together they clock 40 hours, and then they get X amount of hundreds of dollars from the federal government. Well, it's actually from the state. They get it from the federal government, and they'll go through life forever, kind of like that, and there's no chance of moving on. Sometimes when people say, you know, the Republic of Texas comes in, they're not going to get the food stamps anymore.
But this is the beautiful thing. This is the beautiful thing. That's the beauty of the whole thing. They're not going to get the food stamps because in Texas we talk about self-reliance. We talk about taking personal responsibility. They're not going to get the freebies. We don't give out free lunches in Texas. So they're going to move on. They're going to actually get off their ass and go get a job, or get off their ass and go to California where they give you everything, and they'll take care of you from cradle to the grave. That's the beautiful thing. They'll be gone. Either they'll be employed or they'll be gone.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree with you. You know, that would be good for personal responsibility and for a man to understand that if he wants to eat, or a woman, right, she wants to eat, then she has to work or join a team, you know, get married, form a union between another individual, right? Maybe stay with family. I like that idea. You know, moving from a nuclear family where you have a man and a woman and a child to an extended type family where the United States kind of goes at you and they try to break you apart and say, well, this is how reality is. It's a nuclear family. Man and woman get a license from the U.S. government to get married. Then they're married, and they're contractually obligated to deal with each other. They raise a couple kids. They form a contract with the kids to raise the kids for X amount of years, and the state's going to hold part of that contract, from what I know. And then they go away at 18, and you're not responsible, and then you get old and you die, right? And maybe ethics shouldn't be part of politics, but I think personal responsibility actually brings in the fact that mom is getting older, and somebody's got to take care of mom. It's not that nursing home, and mom can take care of the grandkids. It's kind of like a roll back to the past. But that's where I always go with personal responsibility.
That's what it's all about. We have to take. I used to have a website called A Bold Step Back. We don't need to go forward. We went forward and we screwed it up. We need to go back to what it was. We need to go back to where we have statesmen that are serving us in D.C., not politicians. A statesman is worried about the country. These politicians are worried about their next election. We need to go back to putting them on a salary commiserate with what their voters are on. Why do congressmen have $145,000 and the leadership of the Congress is on like $210,000, and you get that money for life? They're no more than government employees. They should be getting paid what a lieutenant commander makes in the military, or a senior postal clerk.
It doesn't really make any sense, you know.
No.
And I've been looking at it, and I've heard people talk all sorts of angles. You know, there was that thing with what was the last governor of corporate Texas? Oh, God, he was running for president. Is he running for president? What's his name?
Yeah, he is. He just announced the other day.
Okay, what was his name?
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name. He's moved on.
Geez, that's wow.
I got you.
This is funny.
Oh well, they're all criminals. Screw them. Yeah, they get a salary of like $100,000 a year, and they do 4 years, and then they're a multi-millionaire.
Rick Perry is nearly perfect as a candidate. He's a wonderful candidate. He talks about what he should do, what he would do. When I get elected, this is this. We're going to put an end to this. We're going to seal the border. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do. Man, has he got the answers? He's a fabulous candidate. But when he gets into office, he's a rhino. He's a piece of crap. No, we don't need that. We need somebody that's going to stand up there and get us back on constitutional ground. That's what the corporate U.S. needs to do.
Mhm. Yeah, I get your drift. You know, a candidate's a candidate, and they all lie really good. But it's not lying for them. They mean that when they say it.
They mean it. They're just spineless. They don't have the courage of their convictions. They don't have. See, you know what it takes? It takes somebody that will stand up and say, "This is what I'm going to do." Get elected, and do what you said you're going to do. And if you piss off enough people that you don't get reelected, so what? You did your job. You stood by your words. You did what you say you do. Go on home. So what? You did the right thing. You did what you were sent there for. Not like these bastards we sent up to the Senate in 2012. They're going to change everything. Now they're up there and they're trying to pass Obama's immigration bill. They're trying to pass his trade pact. They're ceding their authority to the president, giving him complete authority over treaties.
Mhm.
They should be forced to give. They should be forced to give up their paychecks as well, because we're paying them to hold the president in check, and they're going up there and saying, "Look, do whatever you want to do. Sign the treaty. We'll pass it. And if you want to modify the treaty later, we're going to give you the right to do that. You can change the terms anytime you want." For 6 years, they've got this blind trust that they've signed this authority over to.
Right.
So stop their paychecks and recall the sons of bitches. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that'll do any good, because more of those rats will scurry in, and, well, people don't like to have them accountable. Chuck brought that point up last week, that everybody has this mythos about Texas men actually standing for something, because he believes that it might just be a mythos. But I do believe there's a couple people out there. Have you met a lot of people in Texas that actually stand up for what they believe is right, or freedom and liberty and a limited government? Do you see that?
Yeah. We've got more than most states as far as true statesmen. I mean, we do, but not nearly enough. Not as many as I thought we did when we sent our last batch up to D.C. But it's going to take more, you know. And what the problem is, you get up there, you get a young freshman up there in the House or in the Senate, and they're going to do all these things they promise. And here comes the elder statesman, puts his arm around him and says, "Listen, son, I've been here for 40 years. If you want to sit up here for 2 years and then go home and go back to being a dentist, then you just do what you said. You just keep doing what you said you do, and you'll go back and you'll be a dentist again in 2 years. If you want to stay up here and make a real difference and have friends that will support your bills, if you want to be on committees where you can actually do some things and do some good, then you've got to go along to get along, son. Otherwise, you're not going to have anybody talking to you." And they fold one after another, because it's more important that they keep their job than it is to make a difference. I would rather have 10 people go to D.C. promising that they would not increase our budget $1, they would not pass one new tax bill, they would not, right down the line, a good conservative ticket, refused to negotiate, refused to give up your values. Do that. If you don't get any committees, if you don't get any support from anybody else, so what? Next time we'll send 20 people up there. You did what you say we would do. All we can do is keep sending more of them to do the same thing. If they do nothing but bog the system down until we get enough to cross a threshold, then we've done the job. But I mean, right now, we've got the House, we've got the Senate, and we're up there in D.C. acting like we got our ass kicked in the election. We're negotiating like losers. The first thing
they're all on the same team, Tom. You know that.
Yep. The first thing that should have happened in January when they got sworn in, the very first thing, they should have scrapped all the voter rolls, every voter roll in the United States of America. Scrap them. If you want to vote, you have to re-register with a voter ID. Second of all, change all the voting terms to a 1 or 2 day limit. None of this 8-week voting period. We can drive around the country from district to district and vote and re-vote and re-vote and re-vote. Thirdly, at every polling place, there's a jar of purple ink. You don't need computers. You don't need all this fancy crap that can be rigged and pre-rigged. People come down out of the caves in Afghanistan and Iraq. They come out of the damn caves to vote, and they bring their voter ID. And they dip their finger in purple ink so they can't possibly vote again in the next 2 days. And it's a fair election. That's all we need to do.
Yeah.
But we've got millions of people. We've got millions of dead people on the rolls. There's over 300,000 people in the United States voter rolls that are over 125 years old. If you look at their date on their voter registration card, there's 300,000 plus people that are over 125 years old. They just
you don't have to convince me that the damn thing's rigged. You know, I've listened to black box voting and all those guys, and I've heard all the shenanigans, and I know there's tricks and all that, and they're steering us in the election selection thing. Tom, I got Earl Forrester on the other line. I want to quickly give you the last few minutes. Tell me, what is important? What is the most important thing that you can think of for whatever?
What's important is we keep moving the ball forward. We don't let up. These arrests are nothing to us. All they do is steal our resolve. We've got to get all the different groups, Freedom Texas, Liberty Texas, Texas Secession. We've got to get pulling in the same direction, get online, cross each other's websites to each other, get everybody we can involved, wake them up to what's going on. Only we can do it. You can't expect somebody else to do it because they could be waiting on you. You've got to become an activist yourself. That's it, brother.
Dude, that rock. Really appreciate it. Hey, until next time, man, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing the information. Thank you for caring about Susie and Doc and taking care of your own. I really appreciate it.
You got it, brother. God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you too, man.